Good morning, everybody. It's good to see some students back on campus. As Rod has said, the fact that we're now starting late has meant that there's been a lot of people having to work behind the scenes with a lot of groups, including your own Students' Association, and Nick's going to say something a little later, trying to put together a package for the remainder of the academic year. We've got to try and work and get the best outcome we have without dragging this out forever. You know, we could say, well, okay, we'll just extend the academic year by 2 weeks. But then that means that we have to cancel summer school. It means we have to cancel the graduation ceremony. There's a whole lot of things follow on from that. So it's not a simple decision like that. It's much more complex. There are some laboratories which you will find may not run. There will be some facilities which you may not be able to access. So I've been working with the academic staff over the last couple of days and the Students' Association trying to put together this package. So we want to make sure that you people get your full academic program. We don't want to shortchange you guys, okay? Because this is your education for the future. So that's important. The Students' Association made it clear to me that there are going to be a number of people that are going to be requiring a break between lectures and the start of examinations. All right? And I think that's your expectation, okay? So we have got a study break in there, but it's not a full week. It's a compromise, and this is where we're all going to have to work together to get a compromise. We've maintained the existing final date for the examinations of November the 11th. So November the 11th is when the academic world gets back on its original schedule. Now, we haven't done horrible things like give you 3 exams in a day, okay? So put that out of your mind. That hasn't happened, okay? Because there's all sorts of rumours, and I've had lots of emails about that sort of thing, how I couldn't possibly have 3 exams in a day. That's not going to happen, so don't get stressed about it. We have to make sure that we give the academic staff time to mark your papers and give them the proper consideration that they're due. And the same with these various assignments. They need the time to do that. So all of these things have meant that, you know, we've had to work quite hard to come up with a program. So let's have a look at some of the things that are going to happen. First of all, this second half of this semester is going to be 5 weeks of teaching. So starting next Monday on the 20th of September, we will go 5 weeks until Friday the 22nd of October. Now that's the Friday before Labour weekend. So that gives us 5 weeks. So what we've done is we've cut back by 1 week. So if it's a full year course, you're missing 1 week out of 24 nominally. Semesterised course, you're missing 1 week out of 12. The academic staff, however, are making sure that they're rearranging the course material to make sure that you get the best deal out of these 5 weeks. All right? When we look back in 30 or 40 years' time and you think, I missed 2 lectures, it's not going to be a big deal. We've got to make sure that we get the material that is important for your course, though, in that 5 weeks. And there may be that they put up and use the electronic resources, so they put up information so you can do a bit more reading yourself and things like that. So they've been working on this so to make sure that all the significant material's covered. Now, we did put out an email last week which basically said that all assessments and tests would basically be due 2 weeks after their original published date. After the big aftershock we had last Wednesday morning, we had to reassess that because that just wasn't going to work. Because things that were due in the middle of October, you shift them 2 weeks, suddenly they're at the end of October, suddenly they're going to be due when you guys are supposed to be sitting examinations. So what we've been working with the academic staff and the departments to reorganise this schedule. What we've asked the staff to do is to look at the assessment, to take into consideration the fact that the term has now shortened, to take into consideration that both you guys and the academic staff in many cases have suffered all sorts of trauma and whatever else in this last week or so, and just be compassionate, shall I say, about everybody's needs here. So what I've asked them to do is to look at their schedules, to look what they're going to ask you to do, and any changes to that assessment has to be signed off by the head of department or head of school. So the course lecturer has to consult with the head of department, head of school, and with the dean. And that's an attempt to make sure that things are done in a fair and reasonably equitable sort of way. So assessment that was due originally on the 15th of October, which was the original end date for the academic year, and it is now still due on the 15th of October. And that has forced the academic staff to reconsider the scale of things that they ask you to do. There will be some assessment in that last week, between the 15th of October and the 22nd of October. But for example, it will be courses typically that don't have a final examination. It might be music performance courses where they've already set up dates with the external examiners and things like that, and a concert at some venue or other, and assuming that the venue's still standing, then they'll proceed with that, okay? So there will be some assessment in that last week, but we have tried to make sure that we minimise that so that you guys are not working flat out the week before the exams start. Now, the study period. Lectures finish on the 22nd, Saturday the 23rd, which is the Saturday of Labour weekend. Study period will start and it will run through until Wednesday the 27th of October, so you get 5 days. So the exams are now going to be held from Thursday the 28th, so the start date for the exams is effectively delayed 2 days. The way that we have dealt with the examinations now finish on exactly the same date as they originally did, the 11th of November, is that we have looked at the examinations that were originally scaled in the last 2 days, and they tend to be for smaller classes, and we've rescheduled those into the last few days of the examination period. So we've managed to shorten that down. Now this doesn't mean that we've created an enormous number of clashes. I'm told that the number of clashes that we've created affects 9 students. And we can deal with that relatively easily. Exam results, this was important. We had to put a stake in the sand and say the exam results have to be released on the same day that we said they would, because they affect all sorts of things. And of course graduation, I think at the end of all this, those of you that are completing your degrees will really want to have something to celebrate. And so let's keep graduation, because I think it's going to be even more important this year than perhaps it was in some previous years. The updated information on the course requirements, assessment dates and so on will be provided to you when you return to class early next week. I'm still working on the details of the examination schedule, so I can't tell you exactly whether your exam's on which date, but typically everything's been shifted 2 days, except for the very last 2 days where we've compacted that back. So all those updates will be on the website on Monday for you. That's our plan. When you go to your first lecture, your lecturer should be able to tell you for that particular course exactly what is changing. Queries directed to the supervisors of your courses, individual departments, college offices and so on. But it's no point in rushing off now down to the college office and saying what's going to happen with, you know, Greek mythology 101, because they won't have any idea at this stage, because that's still being worked on, a lot of that. But by Monday, go and ask. We wanted to get this full program. We've got enhanced e-resources, and Sue's going to talk about that. Withdrawal of courses. Some students have already sent me emails asking about withdrawal from courses. Officially, that was on the 31st of August, a few days before the earthquake. Okay? But we will consider late withdrawals if that's really what you want. The IGRATAT process will be in place, and the wording in that says other critical circumstance, which in my view includes earthquake. If you have problems, trauma issues, whatever related to that, then the IGRATAT process is available to you for your tests, for your exams and assignments. Make use of it. But remember that you still have to provide some evidence. Request for refunds is pretty much the same as in the handbook. It's now Sue's turn to tell you about libraries and various other things.